The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to the season finale of Are You Afraid? Scream Queens, the unofficial Scream Queens internet radio show exclusively on Papi Chulo Radio. Today is Sunday, December 13th, 2015, and I'm your host, Papi Chulo. During tonight's broadcast, we're going to recap, review, and dissect the latest episode of Scream Queens, the season finale of Scream Queens. Later on in the broadcast, get ready for a spoiler alert as we bring you the hit Fox series' casting scoops, spoilers, and ratings. So let me introduce you, and please welcome my fantastic co-hosts. First up, she penned the missive to end all missives. Because she's not a total div, it's Priscilla.
Easy enough so all you orangutans can follow. Hey guys.
I love that. Next up, his social security number is 123456789. His home address is Sesame Street, 666 Sesame Street to be exact. He graduated from Sweet Valley High, and he got 1,000,000% on his SATs. It's Prince Rico Suave.
What can you say? I'm all around American.
Yes, that's what they say about you. And excuse him for a second while he drops the mic. He's headed to Quantico. You don't want to look back at it one more time? It's Wilson Hammond Jr.
Oh, man, missing out on such a sweet thing when I head to the FBI.
That's what they say. So let's get into the season finale of Scream Queens. We're going to get into our recap of episode 112, which was titled Dorkus, and episode 113, titled The Final Girls, with the parentheses, with the S, which both of them aired on December 8th, 2015. So here's the official synopsis for episode 112, titled Dorkus. Pete admits to Grace that he was part of the Red Devil scheme and was in fact the third murderer to don the costume alongside Boone and his twin sister. Pete claims responsibility for the murders of Roger, Boone, and the attempted murder of Chanel at the mall, and the murder, of course, of the police officer. Grace is disgusted by his constant rationalizing of his actions and tries to leave. However, Pete piques her interest with the identity of the remaining Red Devil. He begins to divulge the identity. However, the Red Devil fatally stabs him before he can tell Grace who it is. Meanwhile, a vitriol-filled email penned by Chanel after their failure to help her kill Munch goes viral, and the public turns on Chanel. A helpless pizza delivery guy is strapped to a dynamite vest and forced to impersonate the Red Devil by an unknown female, and is blown up in the Kappa house. Distraught, Chanel considers suicide, but Zayde convinces her to rise up and reform her cruel ways. She decides to begin with a fake apology to Melanie Dorkus, who still believes that Chanel is responsible for the acid attack that left her permanently deformed. Grace and Wes decide to unmask the killer once and for all and institute a plan. Wes will seduce Dean Munch to gain access to her files so that Grace and Zayday can investigate the girls and determine who has the skills to be the killer. The Chanels go to Dorkus's house for the apology. However, Hester stays behind to rob Chanel's closet, and Chanel number 5 leaves for a Tinder date. Chanel attempts to stab Dorkus with scissors, convinced she is the killer, before Grace and Zayday stop her with the proclamation that Hester is the Red Devil. Grace, Zayday, Chanel, and Chanel number 3 return to Kappa, finding Chanel number 5 in the bathroom and Hester with a stiletto heel jammed into her eye socket. As Hester is being taken to the hospital, she points to Chanel number 5, claiming that she was the one who attacked her. And here's the synopsis for episode 113, The Final Girls. In 2016, Kappa Kappa Tau has been rebuilt from the ground up thanks to the efforts of President Zayday, Vice President Grace, and Treasurer Hester. Dean Munch is now a best-selling author and is in a serious relationship with Wes. Chad sets up a foundation honoring his dead friends and enters into a relationship with Denise, who is excelling as chief of police. Hester reveals that she was the Red Devil and got away with all of her crimes. Having grown up in the asylum with Gigi and Boone, Hester soon became obsessed with exacting revenge on the people who took away her mother and faked her scoliosis to distract people from her plans. She describes herself as the brains of the operation and Boone as the muscle who actually committed all of the murders. Back in December of 2015, Hester survives the stiletto stabbing, having inflicted it on herself, manages to convince Denise that the 3 Chanels are all killers and they are arrested. During their trial, Chanel offends the jurors who originally marked the girls as innocents with her arrogance and rudeness, so much so that they find the girls guilty of all charges, and the trio are sentenced to life in the mental asylum that formerly housed Gigi, Boone, and Hester. There, Chanel is unanimously voted asylum president. Chanel number 3 embraces her lesbianism and begins a relationship with one of the female nurses, and Chanel number 5 is placed on a series of medications that completely transform her personality into someone Chanel actually likes. One night, Chanel is awoken in the middle of the night by a knife-wielding Red Devil. Brum, brum, brum. So much happened in this 2-hour season finale that I'm really excited to chat with all of you about it. So I want to get everyone's initial reaction to both episodes. So after the 2 hours was over and done with, what were your initial thoughts? Priscilla?
I was satisfied. Like, we were talking about it last episode where I was like, if it comes out that it's someone unexpected, or even if it comes out to be someone that we knew from the beginning, so long as they do it well in the episodes, I'll be happy. And they did it really well. I honestly don't like the fact that we got so much Pete and Grace in the first part of the episode, but other than that, like, I loved it. Wish there were more Chad, though.
There could always be more Chad. Prince, your initial thoughts on the episode?
I liked it. I liked how it played out. The only thing I probably could say I didn't like was probably the total ending, the complete ending. But other than that, I enjoyed it. It was a good 2 hours. Like, it kept me entertained.
All right now, Wilson, your initial thoughts?
All that and no fucking murder.
There was a murder.
There was.
And a lot of flashbacks to old murders.
Come on. And this whole us counting down this whole time, we've been counting down how many people would survive. And then the whole fucking cast survived.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I kind of did enjoy that though, because I like after a while you kind of grow to like them, and you want to see if they do come back for another season.
That is true, and
No,
Ryan
but
Murphy
Ryan
does have an
said-
out though, because he did say that at least 4 would continue on to the next series.
But he also said at the beginning of the season, like most of the people that you know are gonna die. So I was hoping for like main characters.
Yeah, that
to
is
die.
true. I think only 3 official, like, series regular status people died. Gigi,
Exactly.
Pete, and Earl Grey. Those are the 3 actors that would be considered series regulars that died. Everyone else was recurring.
So yeah, I kind of agree with Wilson. If you're talking about like deaths, we didn't get enough.
Like I do like we got I don't know, I guess hearing it from Hester's point of view, and I forgot who it was that said Hester a few weeks ago. It's like maybe the whole neck brace thing was a fake. I don't know who said that, but like damn it, that was dead on. And like, but yeah, so not enough killing, not enough slashing of the main characters, and the fact that so many of the main characters made it. I mean, they're living perfectly in it. I don't know. We'll get into that though. So
Also, I'm gonna take that shadow because I was the one that said that the neck brace might be like a fake out, but I totally didn't see like that she was the killer. I just thought the whole thing was gonna be a fake out. They
indeed,
explained everything really well, though.
They really
they did.
did. I enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed both episodes. I'll agree a little bit with Prince on like the final 30 seconds, but we'll discuss that towards the end of our broadcast. But as a whole, I thought it was a really fun episode. A lot of really long monologues. I think like the first two sections of the episode was pretty much like really long monologues for Pete and for Chanel. I'm like, wow, like they're getting all that exposition out there, which was hella entertaining. But I was like, okay, listen, people getting epic monologues throughout the 2 hour broadcast, which was interesting to see. But overall, I thought it was a fun conclusion to the season and this first installment, first iteration of the series. So let's get into everything right now, and we pick up exactly where we left off last time, where we saw Pete basically telling Grace, you can't be with me. I'm a murderer. You can't be your first time with a murderer. And so we have Pete basically divulging everything, how he got involved basically with the Red Devil. He says that it was an idea that sparked because of Grace and their drive back after meeting Mandy, one of the original Kappa girls. He was filming one night, the night of Shondel's murder, and he followed the Red Devil after he killed Shondel into the Dicky Dollar Scholar's house, and it turned out to be Boone. Boone explained everything and basically convinced him to join this plot, this scheme. And so Pete confessed to being the one to kill Dodger, or Roger, he wasn't sure, and he also killed Boone because he felt that Boone, was the muscle and he was going all crazy and, he was trying to end it. He also is the one that maimed Chanel on Black Friday and killed the officer by shooting the crossbow. And he was like, I don't know how to use a crossbow and that kind of thing. At one point, he was actually... Wait, go ahead.
That was actually... at one point, he was actually funny. Like, that part made me crack up.
Yeah. At one point, Grace was like trying to stab him, but he subdued her. He was like, you need to listen to everything. You need to listen to everything. And she was doing the usual thing that a girl does in horror movies, like, oh my God, I can't believe you. Like, you need to get away from me and that kind of thing. At some point as well, as he's telling his story, the Red Devils were actually going to kill him. But he ended up convincing them to keep him alive, and that's when he had to start killing. And so his first kill was, once again, Roger or Dodger. He's still not sure. As he's saying all this, like, we're seeing Grace and her reaction to it, and she's can't believe what she's hearing, and she ends up like leaving. Because he's like, we can still be together, we can do all this. The reason I did this was because I had this crush on Chanel, and Chanel made me act something out, or a fetish that supposedly she had, but it wasn't true, and she laughed at me, and they all laughed at me, and that kind of thing. And so Grace was tired at one point, and she was like, I'm gonna leave, don't ever speak to me again. And that's when he blurted out, yeah, well, don't you want to find out who the other one is, the twin? It's one of your sisters. And just as she returns and he's about to say everything, he's explaining that he took DNA samples from all of the Kappa girls, and he figured out who it is. The final Red Devil, aka the twin, busts out of the closet, stabs Pete, killing him. There's this epic fight between Grace and the Red Devil. It seems like she's trying to rip off the mask, but it doesn't come off. And before we cut to commercial, we see the Red Devil, like put their hands up and then bam, and then we don't know what happens. At this point in the episode, did you guys think Grace was dead? Did you guys think that the Red Devil had killed her? And what did you think of Pete's involvement in the whole thing and his confession and that kind of thing? Did it make sense with what we've seen?
It made sense. And I don't know, the fact that Grace was like the half sister of the Red Devil, like I knew in my heart of hearts, like I knew that she wasn't gonna die, but I was hoping against all hope. Like I was like, please let me be wrong. Please let them surprise me. Please let her be dead.
Thinking. It was wishful thinking. I was wishing she was going to be dead too, but we knew she wasn't going to be dead, so that was the problem.
Yeah.
Like I've been saying from the beginning, y'all thought I was a crackpot, just saying some crazy shit. Told you Grace had something to do with this shit all along. I didn't know how she had something to do with it, but I knew she had something to do with it. And that being your sister, yeah. Your whole family, she got crazy in her too. That's the reason why she played. She be acting like that. I knew she had something to do with it somehow.
Yeah, she gave like a really weird, like, even if you're speaking in an offhand manner, it's a really weird thing to say that, like, yeah, maybe the serial killer has it right. Like, like she's fucked up too.
Right, totally fucked up. Yep, knew it. I knew she had something to do with it.
Also, like during that fight, I was thinking she was gonna take him out. Who the hell can get like bashed like behind the head like 5 or 6 times and still like not get like dizzy or knocked out? Like
someone batshit crazy.
Shit. Well, yeah, maybe that costume acts like a helmet or something because shit, like
that was rough.
Exactly.
Or maybe it just looked rough. Grace is frail.
Oh my gosh. She got that, I don't want to say final girl energy, but for lack of a better word, she got that final girl energy in her in that scene. She was getting her, Laurie Strode and Sydney, I always forget her name, Sydney Prescott, right? Sydney Prescott on from Scream. She was doing it.
She's even got like the whole
magic virgin powers.
That's the version.
Yes.
Right. It's always the same thing.
Right, magic virgin powers.
It saves you because everyone's too bored to actually like kill you.
Yes, the power of the hymen.
Oh my god, Pete's like what Chanel did, that was pretty fucking funny. Like, Jesus Christ. I saw that, and you know how when you see television sometimes like you feel embarrassment for that character and you can't even look at them? You're just like, oh my god, why are you doing this shit? That's how I felt watching it. I had to like look away.
Yeah, that was I was like, oh, bro, oh, man, all right. I guess you don't have any dignity.
If Chanel number 5 is laughing at you, you fucked up.
Yep.
Ain't that the truth? So Pete died. Rest in Pete. Was anyone shocked that he died within the first 10 minutes?
I was.
I know, because you had him listed as someone that was going to survive until the finale.
Yeah, because
I was overjoyed.
Yeah, me too. Wilson's got it right. I was like, fuck yes.
About time we got rid of this dude. Fucking asshole.
And he even did the stupid, like, McConaughey, like, accent thing, and I was like, God damn it, really? And the fact that, like, Grace is like, you don't have to be a douche. Like, I'm like, this is, like, another time that like I agree with Grace. Like I felt like that whole like quote with Chanel, like if I'm agreeing with her, does that make my opinion wrong?
Yes, that's true.
Grace.
That's too funny. So throughout the episode, listeners, we will be giving props and little braggadocious type of things to those that were right in our predictions. And I get to go first because I was 50%, in a sense, right about the killer. Because I said Pete was one of the killers, and Pete was one of the killers. So I get a little pat on the back.
Indeed.
So,
nice.
Yay for me. So thank you. I appreciate it. So let's continue on. We have this sequence with Chanel Oberlin. Remember, she was writing the missive at the end of the previous episode, and so we got to actually hear the entire missive in a really neat sequence. I enjoyed how they were like typing the missive everywhere. I thought that was a really neat effect. I don't think I've ever really seen that before, unless they're using that as an homage to something else.
I haven't seen it before either.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. They focused on, like, you should get sterilized, and it's the cute little puppy.
Yeah, that was. I thought it was a really neat effect. Just the typing all over the place on all the walls and the floor and everything was fantastic. And basically, it's Chanel bitching at the other girls for not being there to kill the dean. But as we now know, because of Pete, one of those girls is the Red Devil. So the Red Devil forwarded it to everyone on campus, which I thought it was interesting that they had to dress up in the Red Devil costume just to forward it. I was like, really? You can't just click forward?
And the Red Devil had on nails, which I was just kind of like, fuck, really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the details that count. And so as Chanel went to Starbucks to get her pumpkin spice latte, which, do they still sell that in December?
Yes.
Really? You would think that it would be like gingerbread or something.
They sell that shit all the time.
Okay, well, there you go. So as she's getting her piping hot pumpkin spice latte, she sees that it's all over the TV. Everyone's, reacting negatively towards it. Students return to campus just to protest her, even though there's a killer on campus. They're asking her for statements and everything, and basically she ends up saying that you all can suck it. So she enters the Kappa house, and she contemplates suicide. She orders an asp because she wants to die the same way Cleopatra died. And it turns out that it wasn't an asp, it was just a garter snake. And she has this really nice conversation with Zayde. She's like, we're sisters, I'm here for you. Let's do the damn thing. We're at the bottom right now with everything that's going on. Let's take things back and take things to the top. And as they're saying this and they're excited to team up, a Red Devil comes in with a candlestick. I guess they played Clue a lot. And then the Red Devil grabs brushes and starts attacking. Zayde kicks him. The Red Devil picks up the asp and starts freaking out. And then, he gets knocked down to the ground. And then they tie him up. And then they pull the mask off. And it's someone that we've never seen. So they gather all the girls downstairs. And they are like, we caught the Red Devil. Hester comes on in saying that she was attacked by a girl in a shawl that kept on saying dork, 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 dork. And there was this really great conversation between Chanel and Hester, where she's like, everyone on campus is a dork. You're a dork. It was good. As all this is going on, they turn the guy around. They say he smells like pizza. He basically gives his story that he was delivering pizzas. He entered the house. He got knocked over the head. Some female with a distorted voice strapped dynamite on him and told him if he didn't kill everyone in the house that he was going to get blown up. And the countdown is going down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The girls run and hide, and kaboom! Pizza guy all over the first floor of Kappa House.
Poor bastard.
I know. Let's pause right here for a second. Let's discuss Chanel's missive and the pizza guy.
You mentioned, it was really creative, and I don't know, graphics wise, that must have been super hard to do because it looked beautiful. I don't know, and her missive itself, I don't know if it's just me, but I didn't know what a div was.
I still don't know. Can you explain?
Huh?
Can you explain? I still don't know what it is.
A div is an idiot or someone who's really stupid, and it's UK slang. That's why I was just kind of like, what the fuck?
Well, they made it into American slang now.
Like fetch.
Yes. Well, no, fetch was a made-up word, and it never caught on. Remember that movie? But div is I don't know. It's an actual term in the UK.
We need to start using it all the time.
I was like, what the hell? Am I that far out of the loop? Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, these young kids and their lingo.
But yeah, Chanel's masterful. And the fact that she was like, you can suck it was
I love
cherry
that, yo.
on
I
top.
was expecting it. I was like, her statement's going to be, suck it. And then she went on this whole thing in the beginning where she was like, okay, I have something, and, you know, I want all of you to listen, and this is one. And then she finally said it, and I was like, yes, because I was like, she's so going to say it.
I just love the letter where she's like, I don't know what was important for you guys to just ditch me, where I had to explain why I had chains at a pool to Dean Much, and she's just rashing. Like, in specifics, though, how she's rashing. Like, and I'm in there with chains, and I got to explain to her why I have chains, and I got to be like, oh, well, because I like to swim with chains.
She actually typed out that word. Oh my god. I felt like, I don't know what show said this, but they were just kind of like, rule number one: if you're gonna insult someone, or if you're gonna like implicate yourself, always do it verbally. Never do it like typed out, because that's like evidence. And I'm like,
Right,
shit, this
exactly.
is just gonna get like blow up in her face, and it did.
It did, but legally standing, though, like, nothing bad happened, which I thought was even more hilarious. She got the negative response because of, like, the missive, you know, and the insulting nature of what it was, not necessarily because of the facts.
Right.
The news articles are hilarious. Like, her commenting on gold colonics. Is Obama a div? Like, they were fucking funny. Like, you totally know if it was like some rich like socialite brat, like, I don't know, like Kim Kardashian or something, who like would do something or say something really mean. That's exactly how the media would run it.
Yeah.
Chanel, she's the best. I've been saying it since the beginning. Chanel is hilarious.
And she's not a total div.
That skirt though, that like they wore like really cartoony stuff, but like her dress as she's walking by, I'm just kind of like, did they hot glue gun like all those little things on her skirt? It looks really weird. She I don't know, like they just costume them all really weird. And doesn't she say like later on in the episode, like Chanel's live like apart from the world, like, or something like that? Like they have their own set of rules. It's exactly what I felt the entire time with her.
Yeah, I agree. What about the pizza guy and the red herring with the pizza guy? When the mask was pulled off, was there anybody else like, who the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like, who the fuck is this
Yeah.
guy? And then
That was a death for
when
you,
the
Wilson.
whole story. Yeah, and then they went through the whole story about him getting, him getting strapped down, and yeah, I was just waiting for him to get blown up. I was like, is he actually going to get blown up, or is it going to be more like they figure out how to disarm him, or is something going to happen? Is Denise
I was
going to pop
questioning
in?
that too. Like, is it going to be a fake bomb? Like, is he really going to blow up? And then when I heard that, I was like, oh, it's fake. And then I was like, boom, yes, yes. I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious when Chanel number 3 was like, "There's pizza here."
Yes.
Yeah, that was good. She was
so
really excited.
She's like, that's the first thing I think of. Is there food? Really?
Right? Like,
And
no,
then
we
he
didn't
kind
just catch the red. Like, there's pizza here. Like, where is it? Like, why isn't it here?
As soon as I heard the little laugh, though, like, do you remember, like, back in the first episode when Ariana Grande got the little, like, the little laugh, too?
Yes.
On her phone or something like that? Like, as soon as I heard the laugh, I'm like, this bomb is real. Shit's about to go down. And I was like, fuck yes! That's beautiful. It wasn't as good as the Ariana Grande death. It's still funny.
I felt like that whole Pete situation, she should have been there, too, because I felt like that was before Grace was there.
Oh, they didn't even talk about Ariana Grande's death, but you just assume it's Boone.
They did mention the death
I
once,
just
but a
assumed
little
she
bit
should've
later
been-
on.
I just assumed she would have been up there laughing with the other two Chanels because she would have still been alive at that point.
She was probably getting a colonic or something. Remember, Chanel had said something like, you'd always disappear to get this or the other done.
Yeah, but then that's when she was really fucking Chad. My bad. Forgot.
Yeah, that could have been what was going on, too. So we pick things up with the police arriving and everything because of the bomb. Chanel number 5 is having a mental breakdown. She's crying. She's like, this reminds me of this, that, or the other, and Roger and Dodger. And she's, as Chanel Oberlin would say, you're making things all about you.
Around me.
I'm having a panic attack. I was like, shut the fuck up.
She's the only one, in my opinion, she's the only one who reacted like with any semblance of like she actually was aware of what the fuck was going on. Like y'all about it's getting real. Like like shit is real. Like she actually broke. Like it makes sense to me. Like she's the only one that actually like I'm gonna cry. I'm crying, man. I'm fucked up right now. Everybody else is like, okay, let's do on to the next thing. Like,
well, we have to remember that Chanel number 3 isn't emotional.
If you remember, though, like, if you look back, Chanel number 5 always says, like, the logical thing, like, the thing that people would react with. It's just that she says it in such a, like, high, whiny voice. Nobody gives a shit.
Exactly. She extremely, like, I don't even know what the right word is. She's, like, hyper emotional. She, like, takes it to the extreme.
Yeah.
Plus, we didn't even know who the guy was, so why should we even care? Like, she's over dramatic. Stop it.
It was good pizza.
Turned into a piñata?
Yeah, he really did. I love how only he exploded and nothing else around him.
They tied the I don't even know. Like, can I just mention, like, okay, I'm going to be, like, really, like, circumventional just in case, like, people, like, we're going to get to that. But now that we know who the Red Devil is, the fact that person, like, overpowered someone bigger than they are is, like, I don't know, like, kind of crazy. I don't know how that person did it. Believe it.
Yeah, there were a lot of, in my opinion, in these last 2 episodes especially, there were a lot of inexplicable things that have like that just doesn't really line up quite right. But I guess in this fairy tale world that they wrote, you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want day by day. So,
and if you think about it, that comment right there counts for a lot of horror movies out there as well.
Yeah. It's riffing 80s and 90s horror movies, and those didn't make sense at all.
That is true, yeah. So, after Chanel's conversation with Zayde, where Zayde basically is like, you need to watch your words, Chanel comes in, and although she does have words for Chanel number 5, she does say, you know what, I need to watch my words. This is a new Chanel 2.0. I'm going to have a new tone, and you know what we need to do? I need to do, like, all the celebrities out there. I need to go on an apology tour. They don't really mean their apologies, but they go out there and they say I'm sorry a billion times, and everyone starts to fall in love with them all over again. So what I need to do is I need to go to Melanie Dorcas's house and I need to apologize to her. She still thinks that I'm the one that sprayed her with the acid. That's not true, but I'm still going to go apologize because it's going to make for great TV, and we'll record it and everyone's going to love me all over again. Elsewhere, we see that Grace is not dead. She's with her father, and they sort of discuss what they need to do. She's like, I can't believe that they kept me alive. You know, we need to figure this out. Let's team up together. And unfortunately, Dad, you're going to have to do something that you do not want to do.
Take one for the team.
Take one for the team and make the most epic playlist that you've ever made in your life. Dun, dun, dun. So
now I want a Scream Queens playlist on like SoundCloud or Spotify or something, just to hear like what the
they really do. I agree. So we open up to the Dean's home. She's arriving home. There are these candles all over the place. There are rose petals on the ground. She's got her pepper spray ready or something. And she opens the door, and there is Wes in little, they're not really tidy whities, but they're black tidy whities, for lack of a better word.
Tidy blackies?
Tidy blackies, but that sounds wrong for some.
I know! Really tight briefs.
Yes.
At least I think briefs.
Itty bitty, teeny weeny. And he's all trying to seduce her, and he's like, since day one, we're supposed to be together, and this, that, or the other, and she's not really buying it. She's like twisting his nipple and everything, and then finally the playlist kicks in, and she gets all excited, and they start bumping and grinding, and it's It's something. As all this is going on, Grace and Zayde enter and basically hack her computer and start to get some information. On the other side of town, Chanel number 3 and number 5 arrive at the Dorkus residence, and they're getting ready to meet up with Melanie Dorkus for the apology that's going to get filmed. Chanel number 6 was supposed to meet them there, but she has not arrived yet. We see that Chanel number 6, aka Hester, is in Chanel's gigantic closet. She's stealing all these jewels and whatnot, and then she's playing around with fabric, and she picks up shoes, and she's all happy and excited. She's having her pretty woman moment. At the dean's house, we have Grace and Zayde, and they basically say to each other, how do you know I'm not the killer? I'm glad that you're here supporting me. I just know you're not the killer. I just know you're not the killer, too. So they start looking at transcripts from all the girls, and they notice some unusual things in one transcript. Someone had taken a course on domestic terrorism, so maybe that's how they learned how to make the bomb. Then someone else had taken gross anatomy, but they fainted when they were dissecting a pig. So if they fainted dissecting a pig, how can they chainsaw someone's arms off? But then they also took a sewing class, and remember, the Red Devil's lair had all of this sewing equipment to create the costumes. And then human anatomy, and that's maybe where they got their skill on how to chop off Gigi's head. So they go into their personal data, and that's when they see the social security numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They live on 666 Sesame Street. They went to Sweet Valley High. The whole file is made up. So they have figured out...
Best scene ever, though.
Yes, they figure out that it's her. She's the baby in the bathtub. It's her, the final Red Devil killer. So as they're figuring this out, Chanel number 5 gets a text. Someone swiped left on her Tinder profile. It's the first time.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Right.
Someone swiped right.
I'm not on Tinder.
Left means that they don't like
Okay.
her. And everybody swipes left with her.
Okay. She finally gets a swipe right on Tinder. Someone likes her. Someone really, really likes her. And so she needs to go. And Chanel's like, you know what? This is a miracle. I'm about to apologize to Melanie Dorkus. You gotta swipe right on your Tinder account. There is a God out there. Everything's gonna be okay. You can leave. So as she leaves, she gives this weird little facial smirk. And she leaves the Dorkus residence.
I felt so sad because I was just kind of like that was my guess, and that little smirk. I was like, yes, I'm gonna be right.
Yeah. So let's pause and let's continue talking about that. At that moment in the episode, was that at all a reason for anyone else to think that Chanel number 5 could be the Red Devil, as well as what did everyone think of Wes having to seduce Dean Munch?
Oh my god, that was so awkward because I'm like, Wes isn't even attractive. I'm like,
that scene would have been completely different if Joe Manganiello had stayed on as Wes.
Yes, absolutely. I think it would.
Yeah.
Holy
shit.
I would have felt differently. I would have been like, oh my god, I feel so bad for him. This one, I'm like, dude, that looks like someone you'd end up with anyways. Like, you're dumb and you're not attractive. Like,
he's got poo belly.
That's a win for you. You have a poo belly.
Oh my god.
That was a win for you.
Oh
she knows what she's doing. She had sex with Chad Rodwell. Like, Radwell. Like, Chad Radwell. Like, you're lucky. You're having Chad Radwell's sloppy seconds.
It's true. Well, no, everyone is Chad Radwell sloppy seconds.
That is true, except for one person.
Not Grace.
Not
Grace.
Oh, well, that is true. Yeah.
Holy crap. That scene was so fucking awkward. I was just this is the most horrifying thing that they've played in Scream Queens.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to see this.
It got even awkwarder, like, when they're them.
What about the nipple twist?
Oh my god. Yeah, that was definitely awkward. I was like, really? Did you just let her twist your nipple? Like, what? Y'all are too kinky for me. I can't be watching this.
See, Grace is fucking weird. Who the hell asks their dad, take one for the team, go sleep with that person? What the fuck?
Same one that's telling her dad if she did it or not with Pete.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
who
that
has
was
that
a really weird
conversation?
conversation. I was like, both of you, TMI. This is not what fathers and daughters talk about.
Well,
Right?
when your dad, her dad births serial killers. So yeah, Wes makes
Oh,
serial
I
killers.
forgot to mention.
So they kind of
Oh,
go ahead.
I forgot to mention. The Asp had a really cute tea cozy thing.
Yeah, the
Who
little
the
sweater.
was she like in bargain basement Amazon or something to get like
It was
that
like, I
Asp?
forget what she called it. It was like, I forget. It had a name, Snake Emporium or something, with same day delivery.
Who knows? All I know is like I thought Chanel was smart, but wouldn't you look inside the box and see? Like, and she still thought it was an asp. So like that totally discredited my like Chanel knows more than every other Chanel, all of the other Chanels. No, she's just as stupid. She just plays it off better.
No, it looked like an ass. Can you tell by the pattern? I'm like, I can't. I'm like, really? Did you just buy a snake with a sweater?
She did. So Priscilla was on the same wavelength that I was. Once I saw Chanel number 5 leave and do that little grimace type of thing, I was like, okay. The second person that I said, because I said Pete / Chanel number 5, I was like, Chanel number 5 is the killer. And I did a little happy dance inside my soul because I was so excited. What about the rest of you two, Wilson and Prince? At that moment in the episode, was that something that convinced you guys that maybe Chanel number 5 could be the killer?
Yeah, I figured she dipped off to do some killer type shit.
I don't know. I thought maybe she might be, she might actually be getting some play. She was like, maybe she was thinking about where to get condoms or something.
Oh my gosh. The drugstore.
You had a lot of hope in her.
That's too funny.
I honestly thought that she was the killer. Nuts. And none of mine panned out.
Aww.
I know. But to be fair, she was acting really suspicious. And again, everyone acts suspicious in Scream Queens.
Ain't that the truth? That is very true. So we pick up with the dean in bed with Wes. And she's figured everything out because the dean is a smart lady. So she's like, what were we going to say? That the girls, that they're hacking into my computer and getting, not criminal records, but school records and stuff like that. And then he's like, no, I really like you. And I don't know why I didn't see it. And, you were being all too, like, forceful in the beginning. And, I just, it's you, like, I don't know why I didn't see it. Like, you just make me feel so good. And this was the best sex ever. And you're fantastic. And I think this could really happen. And like, he's talking though, like, because he really doesn't have that many experiences, you know what I'm saying, with, like, I guess women, because he's like talking like a senior in high school or something from like 1995. He's like worse than Gigi, sort of like stuck in the past. And it seems like the dean is like really liking it though. She's into it, but she's like, you know what, you're gonna have to like not be buddy buddy with your daughter because I find her annoying. And she's gonna be like talking shit in your ear saying she's not like good for you, or you're too good for her, and things like that. And we need our space. We need to find a way to like get Grace to like give you space. And he didn't seem all that happy about it. He had this weird look on his face.
Like, oh, I can't be creepy anymore?
Apparently.
I seriously thought that meant that like she was like to put Grace away in the asylum, kind of like how Gigi wanted him to do it. Like, the way she phrased it was really weird.
Yeah, that was odd, and his reaction was understandable but odd as well. It made him extra weird and suspicious at that moment for no reason. They're just making people suspicious because why not, I guess. And we flash to the Dorkus residence. We finally have the Chanels meeting with Melanie Dorkus with her veil and everything and her Freddy Krueger looking skin. And they start sort of talking about everything. She explains that she was in Alaska, but then her parents sent her away. And so she's at this home residence where like 3 generations of the Dorcases have gone batshit cuckoo. And so they talk about plastic surgery and all this kind of stuff. She's like, I've had 9 surgeries. You did this to me. And so Chanel number 3 starts filming, and we see Chanel Oberlin. She's like, there's something I want to say to you. You know, I've been thinking hard about this. She whips out some scissors and she's like, you are the killer, the veil and everything. You've got to be the killer. And she's like trying to stab her, but she keeps on moving until Zayday and Grace bust through, and they're like, she is not the killer, and we have the proof. And then Chanel, this was fantastic. She goes from like, what? And then she has this look on her face like, oh shit. She's like, oh, sorry, stop recording. So they head back to the Kappa house. They hear a scream, and they all go upstairs, and they find. Well, before they go upstairs, they all like grab stuff. So like one of them has like a big ass knife. The other one has a vase. Grace has like a spatula or something, right?
A spatula,
or like a
really
pancake flipper or something.
No, she
Dude, there are like a ton of knives. Why the hell did y'all get like stupid shit? Only one of you got a knife. The fuck?
Well, because Grace is gonna save the day with her spatula. She's just gonna flip the Red Devil over.
She's gonna flip the script. Maybe not. So they head upstairs and they find Chanel number 5 looking suspicious. She has her phone and Tinder and everything, and she says that Chanel ends up saying something like, "Did you bring your Tinder date here? This, that, or the other?" And he ran away from you from your vagina dentata and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, no, it was the guy from Nickelback. But then it was not. It was a fake. It wasn't the guy from Nickelback. And they're like, well, who would bang the guy from Nickelback? So they head on over to Chanel's closet.
All random, the other Chanel goes like, I lost my virginity to a Nickelback song.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the best.
Why not?
That was the best. I was like, dude, really?
Yeah, so they head to Chanel's closet, and on the ground, they find Hester with a stiletto stabbed into her eye socket.
Oh my God.
They're like, is she dead? And Chanel's all like, the shoes, they're good shoes. Can we save the shoes? And they're like, no, this can't be true. Hester's the killer. Pete's dead, Boone's dead. It's Hester. And Hester wakes up, her eyes open. She leans her head over. She looks in fear. She points to Chanel number 5. She says, Red Devil. And she's all freaking out. And this is where we end the first hour of the finale with the Chanel number 5 being accused of being the Red Devil. Pause right here.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk a little bit about the Melanie Dorkus scene and Chanel trying to attack Melanie Dorkus, as well as the revelation that it could be Hester, and then it changed back to Chanel number 5 when Hester accused her of the attack. What were your guys' thoughts at that moment in the episode when the first hour ended?
Okay, for the Melanie Dorkus scene, I saw her and I was just kind of like, she really does look like Freddy. And as soon as I thought that in my head, they were just kind of like, yeah, you look like, what serial killer in a horror movie do you look like? And I was like, I feel terrible for thinking that now. But notice that
I've had 9 surgeries.
That she kept up with Chanel. Usually when Chanel's bitching someone out, they all I don't know, cower before her. But Melanie wasn't taking her shit. She was yelling back too. That was, I don't know, it's the first time I've seen someone actually pull up a power struggle with her. That's kind of her age and still do it right. Because Grace was supposedly supposed to be something like that, but she sucks. We should have replaced the
Grace.
Actresses.
You mean little Alex?
Oh, little Alex.
Yes. And when they revealed no, it's Hester, I could hear from miles away Prince laughing and just being like, I was right.
I'm glad you can hear me, Priscilla, because that's exactly what I was doing. And then I think that was the only tweet I might have composed for the whole finale was, I was right. It was Hester.
But then Hester accuses Chanel number 5. What were your thoughts when that happened? Because she had a stiletto in the eye, and the first things that she said when she opened her eyes and looked at Chanel number 5 was that she's the Red Devil.
So I was like, word, I was right. It was Hester. And then I was like, damn. Well,
I'm kind of right because my new guess was Chanel number 5, but I was like, damn, I still really wanted it to be Hester. Just because I was like, it just seemed more practical to me. Like, I felt like if they announced it was number 5, like, I'm going to have to learn this long, detailed, strange way on how she's adopted and Boone didn't get adopted and what.
That was like as soon as they said that, as Zayde said, it's Hester. I was like, okay, yeah, it's Hester. Even though Chanel number 5 had like that weird, what are you guys doing here? When there's like when a scream sounded, but that story sounded so pathetic that it was perfectly her. Nobody can have such like a loser thing where they take like the dude from Nickelback and are completely thirsty for him. It's from Nickelback. Like, she's fine. She's innocent.
Shout out to
Ew,
Nickelback.
no.
Right?
Maybe not.
Why would you do that?
He's like 60. that
Oh,
was
wow.
one of the best like throwaway lines.
Take it back.
Wilson, your thoughts on Hester waking up and saying that Chanel number 5 is the Red Devil?
Yeah, I still wasn't buying it, you know. So I don't know. I just thought it because like she was there dancing in the closet by herself, you know. Why would Chanel number? I mean, it's kind of coincidental that Chanel would go number 5 would go out of the way to get back there, and the convoluted story with the Nickelback and all the other crap, and then still managed to stab her in the eyes. Like, it just seemed, I don't know. Like, at that point, I didn't know really what to think. I was like, somebody's gonna get outed real quick, you know. So that was one of those things. I was like, yeah, I didn't even know if that was really necessary, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
I will say I hate that like I can handle pretty much anything in horror movies except for stuff dealing with the eye. So as soon as I saw this little thing, I'm like, no, oh my god. And my boyfriend just kind of looks at me and he's like, that's like the only death that you recoiled at. Like, that's perfect. They really managed to like horrify you with one thing. And they have.
It looked very real. It was very gross. Like, I think anything with the eye as well was kind of gross.
I agree with that. Like, I kind of squirmed and like closed my eyes for that scene. And this is me talking. I don't close my eyes for any scene.
You're the king of horror.
Exactly. Like, anything with the eye, that bugs me out because I like to see things, and I would hate for something to be slammed into my eye.
Yeah, that was a bit much. So when I saw that, like, I was confused at the end of the episode because we kept on going like back and forth, and I'm like, after they have all this proof of Hester, right when that scene cut, we obviously moved into the next episode, but like for that split second, I was like, well, could it be Chanel number 5? Like, could she have faked maybe Hester's records or like switched them or something like that, and like maybe that's where that revelation can become true. But then I was like, you know what, this is the end of the penultimate episode because they aired 2 episodes back to back. So I was like, they can't reveal the killer at the end of like the 12th episode. Like, they're going to save the reveal for the 13th episode. So I was like, maybe that's not true. And so let's get into the final episode, the final hour of the series, and we flash forward. We don't pick up exactly where we left off. We flash forward to January 2016, and we're inside of the Kappa house, and it's a new rush week, new pledges. We got President Zayde Williams, we got Vice President Grace, whatever her last name is. We've got even the dean there. She's all happy, excited, all these wonderful pledges, wanting to be part of Kappa. This is all fantastic and all that kind of thing. And as we start panning over, we see our homegirl, Hester, without her neck brace.
She's a treasurer.
And with yes, she's a treasurer, and she's got a sparkly eye patch and everything. And then she starts a monologue where basically she says that she is the final Red Devil killer. She is the twin. We'll pause for a second right here because Prince needs some bragging rights. Although he did not choose Hester as his final pick.
This is true.
during our last episode, no one actually picked Hester as the killer during the last episode, but Prince has been the biggest champion for the longest, that it's Hester, that it's Hester, that it's Hester. I think we're the ones that convinced him that it's not
you
Hester.
You guys did, and I think you know what else it was that really, it was the whole that the person had to be older. And that's what kind of threw me off, was that I had to be older. But I kept saying it was Hester because, one, she was the only other brunette to be Boone's twin. And then I was like, she's a history major. So she liked death. She liked creepy shit. Oh, you guys definitely, you and like that one part definitely like talked me out of my Hester. Because I said Hester from like day one. Woo, 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 woo.
And you're right, like, because last time you mentioned that one of the spoilers was that it was going to be obvious from the get-go that it was, and you called it like since the first episode, like she's fucked up.
Yeah, I'm like, and so when they said it, I was like, wow, like I'm gonna have to trust my gut next season. We're gonna have to see what my first prediction is next season, guys.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Her eye patch thing was funny as hell.
Oh
She
my God,
bedazzled
that
it
shit was...
too.
She did.
Why not?
And now I'm starting to realize she's been using Zayday's bedazzler.
Yes, we'll discuss that in a moment. Yeah.
Notice, like when they say like we're gonna have like everybody's gonna be accepted the first time around, like in the Kappas, everybody like goes away. But now they said since everybody's invited, like there was a whole bunch of like attractive girls that probably would have been in like the old Kappa. I guess they did reform like the entire Greek system the way Pete and Grace wanted.
And
yeah,
I kind of feel
possibly,
like the reputation might have brought new people to the school.
Exactly. That, as well as the presidents and everything, their whole persona, their whole vibe was completely different. So I'm sure that might have attracted some other people that might not have been interested before, but now that it's all inclusive, it sort of saw a bigger draw.
Well, not even that. Who doesn't want to be part of this fraternity where the killer tried to kill a bunch of girls and they all survived? Like, and you're with 3 of the survivors, you get bragging rights. I mean,
you totally just pulled the same thing that like that. Oh, I forgot what her name is. The Sam that Sam said, if you survive, like you've got the best bragging rights.
Right? Yeah, like you got the best bragging rights in the game. Like, and then all these new pledges get the bragging rights. Like, oh, I'm in the sorority with the survivors of the Red Devil.
And remember when Hester was gonna sleep with Chad, she said like, and then I'll be the new head bitch.
Yeah.
She's right. Except she got treasurer instead of vice president, but she was right.
That's true. So Hester, in her monologue, says that this was a plan 20 years in the making. So we flash back to December 1995. We have Gigi. She's crying over her sister's suicide with laxatives. And apparently she cried for like 2.5 years or something like that. So 2 years some change, because we see them in June 1998, and then 5 years later we see Gigi teaching the twins about how to kill people, how to enact some revenge. And Hester is like the star pupil. Boone is kind of like their like
what
kind of basically.
Like, oh my fucking God, I heard that. I was just like, oh my God. And the only thing that made it better was I forgot was Gigi saying, I know. When you recognize that your own adopted kids are dumb as hell. She's so rude.
Oh my God, no, I just loved it though.
Yeah, we saw them grow up, and we learned that she had a great time there. She made great friends until, they get a lobotomy, and then, that sucks. You know what I'm saying? So she realized that behind every persona, you need to be someone that sort of fits in, and people won't really question anything about you. So Boone decided straightforward that he was going to be gay, and
Which was stupid.
that was his thing. Exactly. And so in the asylum is where she figured out who she was going to be, even though she's got, a great body and butt and boobs and all that kind of thing. Yeah, and of course, and her BJ lips, as she said, which was fantastic. She needed to be someone that once people saw her, she'd be invisible and people aren't going to ask her any information about her. So she stole some girl's neck brace, and that's where Hester was born. At least the Hester that we've seen on campus. And then, of course, she needed yes, and so they needed to find the cool costume. And one day at the coffee shop, a Red Devil mascot comes in. No one seems excited for the Red Devils, but that's when the idea for the Red Devil occurred. We saw Gigi viciously kill
stabbed the
Red
shit out
Devil.
of him.
Right?
Like the only time I've seen something that vicious was like when the fucking guy died in Saving Private Ryan by like the Nazi. Stabbed the shit out of him.
She had like built up anger. Like she was just repeated. Like she had overkilled him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was intense.
You have to crack a few eggs.
So, ain't that the truth? So we see that Boone and Hester are the ones that filled the facial steamer thing, or no, it's the tanning thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a spray tan.
It was the spray tan machine with the acid. Boone didn't really understand the whole concept, so of course Boone is the muscle and Hester was the brains. We see Hester enrolling into the campus, and the dean was like, okay, all this shit is fake, but you know what? We have a quota system, and we need certain people to fill certain spots, and we don't have people with severe spinal deformity, so you know what? I'm going to take a chance on you, Hester. Accepted. So that's how she got into the university. She attended the Rush Week, and that's where she met Zayday and Grace, and they were really nice to her. They were like, oh, cool neck brace. She's like, you aren't freaked out by me? And she's like, no, we're part of the new Kappa Kappa Tau. Zayday's going to be president one day. We're accepting of everyone. We love everyone. We want to give everyone an opportunity. And so this is where Hester tells them, you guys are really nice. And I always say that nice is a good quality because it could save your life one day.
If they had said that quote, I would have thought it was Hester. So like that just rounded out that she was crazy as hell. Nobody says shit like that without having like some dark past or secret.
Well, no, she already told us she was crazy. It's how when she started at the beginning of the dialogue and she told us how she got the eye patch. And she said, first you gotta, do your research. Then you gotta figure out, and you gotta get, brave yourself up. She's like, and then, it doesn't hurt when you're batshit crazy.
No, but if she had said that from episode 1, like I would have been like, it's her. Because that line was
absolutely
masterfully said. Like, Leah Michelle did the damn thing.
She really did.
She pulls off crazy.
Yeah, she did a really great job.
Maybe.
And so we learn a little bit more from Hester with the monologue where she says that she's happy, that this is the best part of everything, but the really, really best part is that there are no Chanels. So we flash back to December 2015. We got Hester on a gurney, the eye socket, blood everywhere, the shoe is still in the eye, can we save the shoe? And we flash back to see that Hester learned exactly what to do. She had to calculate the proper length of the heel. She has to, the angle of insertion, the amount of force. She doesn't want to damage her eye socket. She's got to do it the right way. And she's like, it also helps to be like batshit crazy to do this. So we see her do it, which I'm sure all of you are probably like, what?
Oh no, I was just like, it's one of the
She's
weird
batshit crazy.
things.
She's right.
No, I'm saying what because of how they actually showed
yeah.
it. On network television, not on
FX. I
FX.
yet to see it because as soon as like as she's like, I calculated it, and she raises up the stiletto. I'm like, nope, not seeing it. Can't see it. I'm gonna turn around. Fuck this shit. I can't even.
My eyes were shut.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. And so as she leaves one last time, as if, she needed to say it again, she was like, Red Devil, as she points to Chanel number 5. So they start interrogating Chanel number 5. She's like, no, Nickelback didn't swipe right. She's like, I'm one of the good guys, people may think I'm weird and all that stuff, but you know me, Chanel. I'm not a killer. You know me. And then she's like, really? I think you are a serial killer. Because we all know you. You bite your own toenails.
I'm just like, well.
That's so gross.
Yeah, it's not the best. And so they all start, basically saying, it has to be you. She's like, I've heard you talking in your sleep, saying all this crazy stuff about your grandma and all this kind of thing. And so it has to be you, Chanel number 5. So they're all basically saying that it is her. It's her. She's the killer. That it has to be. So they're all convinced that she's the killer. And then all of a sudden, in comes our homegirl, Chief of Police, Denise Hemphill. She's like, I just got a call. We saw a decomposing male body, possible gay face, rippling abs, and it is a match for one Boone Clemens. Cha-ching, mic drop. Hot Shazam, or whatever she said. It was fantastic. So the girls fill her in. She's like, okay, we already know that Boone is dead. Pete admitted to killing him. And she's like, oh, excuse me, for, taking the time to reiterate the facts. And they're like, okay, Chanel number 5 is the Red Devil. Hester said it. And but then they're like, no, Hester's the killer. We have the proof, this, that, or the other. And Hester comes in. She's like, they're going to say I'm going to make a full recovery. Fortunately, Chanel number 5 didn't damage the eye socket. But Grace is adamant, this is a cover-up. You're making this thing up because of the transcripts and all this kind of stuff. And so Hester's like, well, I was homeschooled. I didn't want anybody to know. Everyone gasped. Even Denise was like, whoa, you were homeschooled? And so, but Grace is adamant. You look like Boone, your DNA, and, it has to be you. And she's like, Pete, who admitted to be one of the killers, like, it is Chanel number 5. And so they start, like, grilling her, like, what about you and your parents don't exist and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, well, I think the answer's at the door. And in comes 2 individuals claiming to be Hester's parents. So, and their dog, Cuddle Bear, Clark, and Delight.
Mother, Cuddle Bear.
Cuddle Bear.
Yes.
Like,
well, no. She says that they are definitely her parents, and that Hester's not adopted.
No, there's stepfather, then there's mother, and there's Cuddle Bear.
Oh, stepfather and mother and Cuddle
Yes.
Bear, yes.
she doesn't even name them like Mom, Dad. She's really formal about it too. I'm just like, holy shit, this is like, I don't know,
Maybe
crazy lying, like bad
because
lying.
they're CIA. Maybe because they're CIA.
Yeah.
agents.
They're in the CIA, they're undercover, and that's why he's pretending to be an actor, she pretends to be an actress, and, super secret CIA covers and all this kind of stuff. And, but then Chanel number 5 is like, well, I need to speak to my parents because they're going to tell you that I'm not a killer, nor am I a bathtub baby, and this, that, or the other. But Hester's like, well, don't worry, I already called your parents. And so in comes Chanel number 5's parents, and Chanel number 5 is like, Mom, Dad, she hugs them, and they look all disgusted, and she's like, please tell them I'm not adopted, please tell them I'm not a serial killer. And she's like, they're like, we're not her real parents, someone named Gigi gave her to us after being in a mental institution. We took her in, out of the kindness and for a tax deduction. And when Gigi asked us, when the time came, she has to be enrolled in Wallace University and encouraged to pledge in Kappa Kappa Tau. And we try to love her, but you know what? She's not
sucks.
that great.
That was so
And now the
bad.
truth is out, she's a murderer, and we don't want to have anything to do with her.
Yeah, she sucks. Like, wow, you guys are fucked up.
That was so bad.
Yeah. So we see that 2 weeks earlier, Hester visited the parents, and they were like, we've wanted to disown her forever. I mean, she's not the killer on campus. Maybe she is, maybe she's not, but you know what? She probably is, right? She sucks. She just sucks.
Oh my god, they suck as parents. Like,
I loved Hester's face when they were all saying it because she was like, yeah, you know what? She does suck.
I loved
I just hate that they were
Chanel's
like,
sound whenever things don't go her way, no. God, I was dying. And the faces her parents make when they're
Oh
like,
my
"Yeah,
god.
she sucks. It's terrible."
And the fact that they said we were already trying to get rid of her, like, what the fuck? You guys are dicks.
Ever since she was born, she was annoying or something like
I was
that.
like, you guys suck. Like, you guys really, truly suck.
It's too funny.
It's so
So she's
parents
begging
look good.
them. Yeah, so she's begging them, tell them the truth. And she's like, oh, the psychologist, they said, you're filled with trauma and memory gaps and, all this kind of stuff. She's toxic. You're bumming us out. I mean, and then Denise is like, you know what? I've heard enough. I still believe that Zayde is the killer, but this is real suspicious.
And
Yeah, she would
Sadie
not
just
let
looks at her
go.
like, "Not this again, bitch."
Like, right, bitch? Are you serious?
And then she's like, Chanel number 5, you're under arrest. And she's like, well, don't you need a warrant or something? And she's like, well, I'm the chief of police. I can arrest whoever I want. And little girl, your arrest, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to some other stuff that I can never remember after the right you remain silent.
Ah, that's Denise Hemphill. I'm so glad she stayed on like the whole time because I was
too.
worried she was gonna be the last one killed and
Yeah.
like figure it out
It's
at
gonna
the
be
end.
like a funny death.
But no, I'm glad she didn't die. That whole scene was fucking perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Because then she's like, no, wait, there's more. I loved it. Because Chanel
Yep.
number 3 is the best.
Exactly. Hester accuses Chanel number 3 of conspiring with Chanel number 5 and Boone, and that Deaf Taylor Swift is her first victim. And she's like, no, I was having banana daiquiris at the bar and this kind of thing. But then they're like, oh, but you had disappeared. And so she explains, she was at the bar, but then her stomach was bothering her. She had like explosive diarrhea, mad cramps, maybe someone spiked her drink or something like that. She went to, oh wait, she didn't have to do number 2. She had to do number 3, which we all know that's atrocious. So she heads to the bathroom. There are horrible bathrooms there, so she rushed back to Kappa Kappa Tau, and she went to the bathroom and she did her business. So then Hester's like, you're accusing someone of putting laxatives. And Denise was like, messing with someone's regularity? That's just criminal. So we see that Hester did drop a couple of eye drops that you put in someone's drink.
Chemically, it does do that.
Yeah, it mixes up your system. And so Hester's like that night she had seen someone like climbing the stairs and this, that, or the other, so it had to be you. And so Chanel number 3 is like, this isn't evidence, but Denise is like, you know what? But that's damn suspicious.
Wait, was that
and
what did you call her? Like the leader of a biker gang, like Dirty Mary or something? Like
yes, no, that's coming up. That's coming up. So she's like, the most suspicious thing of them all is that you are Charles Manson's daughter and that you have been writing about the murders, or so that your father's been helping you, come up with the murders via pen pal or something like that. And so they've been writing each other, and she's like, the advice that he's always been giving me is to kill my sorority sisters. And so she reads one of the letters out loud, and Charles Manson's like, I don't know anything about yeast infections, but I think you should strap a bomb to a pizza guy. And he's like, I wish I could do it, but I can't order pizza in the pen, but maybe you can. And so Denise, once again, I love this because it could have been a drinking game, because she was like, that's very suspicious. And so then this is where Hester announces, well, your psychiatrist, who I spoke with, and I have a certified letter right here, says that you have split personality disorder. You are Chanel number 3 sometimes, but then, about 8 months ago, you appeared in his office with a leather jacket on, and you called yourself Dirty Hannah?
I don't remember what it was, but like I remember it was Dirty something, and
Dirty something.
Dirty Helen.
Dirty Helen, yes.
Dirty Helen, and she's the leader of the West Coast biker gang. And so apparently this dirty Helen exists and that kind of thing because she has a split personality. She doesn't remember. She's like, maybe it's my split personality. And then she's like, Chanel number 5 brought you into the thing when you were dirty Helen, this, that, the other. And she's like, maybe that did happen, but Chanel's number 5, that conversation never happened. And so Chanel number 3 like looks up into the heavens and is like, predatory Les, Sam, I'm so sorry for killing you, because Hester's accusing her of killing predatory Les. So Denise arrests her, but Hester's like, I'm not done. There's someone else. You also need to arrest Chanel Oberlin.
I love how Chanel was completely fine with the other Chanels being killers.
She rationalized it. She was like, you know what, Chanel number 5, I can see you being a killer. And Chanel number 3, you're kind of crazy, so I can see you being a killer too.
She totally stabs them in the back all the time.
Right? That's why they're numbered behind her. They're like her little dummies, her walls to protect herself.
Yeah, the best thing was, though, that Chanel number 5's parents were like, you know what, if you're going to keep on accusing people, can we sit down?
I always
Right.
wondered why they didn't do that in scary movies, but then I was just kind of like, you know what, maybe it's because I'm lazy, but no, it's rational. People want to sit down when they're monologuing, when there's a ton of long shit. And I love how they don't even give a shit about it. They're like, no, but we're going to lose our reservation. They really could give us.
But it's hella
about
entertaining.
their daughter.
No, because they wanted to get rid of her.
Exactly. So Hester's like, I have proof that 2 months ago you went into a home improvement store and you bought basically all of the killing tools, including the crossbow, and with her dining club card. And Chanel is like, I'm the one that was shot with the crossbow, and plus those stores don't sell crossbows. But she's like, bam, I have the video footage of you buying everything. And we see that it is Hester dressed up to look like Chanel Oberlin, buying it on a Diners Club card that she had gotten in her name. She also bought the lawnmower, the riding lawnmower, as well. So it's interesting. Zayde ends up bringing the fact that Chanel is the one that is behind Ms. Bean getting her face fried off. And she's like, no, it was a prank during Hell Week. Someone turned the deep fryer on, and we finally get an answer to that mystery. It was Hester. And so, but they're like, but we did almost see you almost murder Melanie Dorkus. And she's like, because I thought she was the killer. And she's like, I'm not the Red Devil. It wasn't me. This is accusing Hester of being behind all this. Like, what is your game? Everyone else makes sense. It doesn't make sense that I would be the killer.
Yeah, when I heard that she used her Diners Club card, I'm like, that shit exists still? I haven't heard of that since I don't know, really old scary movies. Your AAA and your Diners Club.
Yes.
AAA still exists, but shit, I don't know. I've never heard of a Diners Club besides them referring to it as that.
Yeah, that is true. And so while they're saying all this, Chanel's like, it can't be me. Why would I do this? And so Hester is like, well, your plan was, you might not have been someone from the beginning, but you certainly took advantage of everything that was going on, because the people that you killed were all the pledges that you didn't like. You killed all of them because they didn't fit the Kappa Kappa Tau life. And then she's like, well, if I were to kill people, why didn't I kill Grace and Zayde? It doesn't make sense. I hate them the most. And she's like, well, that would be too obvious if you killed the ones that you hate the most.
Well, and that's funny because Zayde was taken hostage. So, we all know, the viewers know that, Hester's full of bullshit. But that was, the biggest hole in her, theory behind, Chanel.
Yeah, but no one mentioned it. But Denise said that Cyclops has some good sleuthing skills, which I thought was fantastic. All she needs is ice cold logic. So that's when Hester's like, it's obvious, it's you. It has to be you. And that's when Denise arrests Chanel Oberlin as well. Good grief.
No. stripper police.
Well, no, yeah, well,
Arrest.
that's when she says that they're under arrest, and then Chanel is like, if you're gonna arrest me, you're gonna have to take me alive. So she rushes, the other rush. Denise calls the popo. The popo arrive, and it's all these buff men in short shorts, because it turns out that she filled the police force with former strippers.
You saw Chanel number three's face. She was like, "Yeah,
Oh my god.
get
She was
it."
like, all right, let's checking them out. And the other two were just like, no. And I'm just like, why would you guys run upstairs?
That is true. There are all these secret passages, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not the way Chanel was grabbing the fucking banister and not trying to let it go. Like, what was the point? You should have just ran out the door and bobbed and weaved.
Wow, you sure know your way around running away from the Popo Prince.
Oh, yeah, you know. I'm a city boy. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Allegedly.
Oh my god.
Allegedly. Because I don't know.
That was
Go for
beautiful. That song. Oh my, perfect. But it's weird, like super modern. I was just kind of like, are they playing like Eminem's song? I forgot that they like that they sampled it so very much. I'm just like, it was my div moment.
Okay.
At that point.
So we flash forward again. Ryan Murphy loves a good flash forward, but this time we flash forward to the end of the semester. It is May 2016. We have this fantastic monologue from the dean basically saying that she's happy. Campus was restored. When the Chanels were denied bail and sent to jail awaiting trial, it was like the best thing that could have ever happened to her and the university. Justice had been served. Chad and Denise, they continued their torrid love affair, and it ceased to be just a booty call, but when they broke up, he was devastated, because no longer was she going to be just chief of police, she got into Quantico. She's going to be an FBI agent, and they couldn't stick to the rivers and the lakes that they used to. They were quoting waterfalls and everything, and they had to break up. And I've got to say, this was I think my favorite scene of the episode, and I think my favorite scene of the series. Why the hell did these two not have scenes together throughout the entire series? Because they were fantastic, and they got too close to the sun, baby. And then he's like, "Just go," and then they make out, and he like grabs her ass and everything. She lifted up her legs. I mean, it was the most.
You don't want to get a look at this.
That was the line of the night. You don't want to look back at it one more time. And then she does the pose. She strikes a pose.
Definition of power couple. At least for a couple of seconds.
That was the best scene ever. And then we see...
They really should have had them as like regular.
I agree.
I won't pork anyone the same way I porked you. Oh my god, that's so sweet.
Yes. They're the best. They are the OTP of the series.
And now we're going to see Denise Hemphill on Quantico or something.
That'd be epic. We see that
Oh my god.
Chad creates this charity organization, nonprofit, and all the money was going to be sent to charity. It's in the name of all of his fallen brothers. And so when he gets asked, so what charity are you going to donate all the money to? And he's like, charity? All the proceeds will go to charity. And he's like, which one? And then the reporter's like, which one? And he's like, all of them. And then he does what every conservative does. I don't like your gotcha questions.
I have nothing left.
No, I just all my homies just died. I got time for these trick questions.
Fantastic. We see.
But it's so true how like celebrities always go like it's going to go to charity, but they never mention which one. There's like it goes to charity. For all we know, it's gonna go to like some stripper named Charity.
Well, there you go.
Hottest bitch in Atlanta. She picks the money up with her butt cheeks. You didn't know?
Nope.
I always give
Now
to
I do.
charity.
Oh my god. Poor Chad.
Oh, Chad Radwell.
But that means that Hester never got him. Like, she never got to keep him.
Yeah. I think she was fine once her plan was done, though. I don't think Chad was really an aspect of her plan, It's more so to
She has
fuck with Chanel.
sisters, and because she has her sisters, and she knows who her dad is.
Exactly, and she has a half-sister as well. So we see that the dean has become this established author. She's got a best-selling book, New Feminism, which was actually ghostwritten by someone else, but she's taken all the credit, of course. She's
Of course.
she's taken over magazines, and people have received the book very well. And basically, the mantra of the book is that women should be in charge, and that dudes should not be in charge in anything.
I can summarize it in 3 words. Women are better.
Yes.
I was just kind of like, seriously. Oh my god.
I saw that coming.
Especially after they started the feminism club. I wonder if they ever fucking finished those essays. And that's how she got the shit ghost.
Oh, that's funny.
That would be funny.
So as the dean's monologuing, we see that there's this memorial in the middle of the campus that was written by Chad Radwell, because he's always wanted to have sex with a deaf girl. And the girls are e-board for Kappa Kappa Tower, cleaning the monument and everything. And the Grace and Zayday have to leave because they're getting things ready for their little, I don't know, a mixer or something later on that night. So they leave Hester to finish cleaning. Zayday's like, make sure you clean my boy Earl Grey. And this is where the dean and Hester have an interesting conversation. The dean is like, oh, it's tragic what happened, this, that, the other. And Hester's like, oh, but, it made things better. So, some good came out of it. And that's when the dean is like, I know it's you, Hester. I remember that baby's face. I will never forget that baby's face. And you look exactly like what that baby would look like, all grown up. They died, Hester. They died. And,
Newborn babies all look like, I don't know, like canned tomatoes. So
Oh my
I
gosh.
have no idea how the fuck she recognized her.
I agree with you on that. Newborn babies are hideous.
Yeah, well, you also have to remember it is Dean Munch. That chick survives everything. She might have photographic memory.
And she knew that Wes was playing her, so she knows shit. She's very perceptive. So Hester goes on to say, well, you know how great Wes is. He would have been my dad. Like, maybe if he was my dad, things would have been great for me, and I would have been a sane young woman, but that didn't happen, and I can't be blamed for my upbringing, but those kids died. They're dead, and that is your fault. And so she claims that she didn't kill anybody, that Pete did it, and that she killed Pete because he's the Red Devil. In my opinion, I think she's just saying that to say it, because she has to have killed at least someone else. She had to have killed Gigi.
No, she
No,
killed.
Pete
She
killed
gave
Gigi.
hints.
Pete never confessed to killing Gigi.
Yes,
He did?
He was like
Yeah, he said he switched spots. He said Boone asked to get rid of Gigi.
Yeah, but he killed Boone.
It's because he said that he went for the stronger one, their muscle, because he thought it would end right there.
Okay. I can somewhat buy that, although he didn't straight up confess to killing Gigi. And he didn't confess to killing Predatory Les, right?
She pretty much said how she did it, but she blamed.
Yeah, so she technically did kill someone else besides Pete. She had to have killed, because Predatory Les recognized her. She's like, I knew it was you. It was always you. That would only make sense if it was Hester. And so, okay, but she's saying, to at least to the dean, I didn't do it. But the dean's like,
oh, and she killed what you call it? Deaf Taylor Swift.
no, because she was in the ground.
yeah.
Oh.
It was her brother. Boone did it.
Yeah. So
Thinking back to it, so according to that, Boone was already dead, and Pete killed Gigi. So do you think Pete put her in the oven?
that's why I think it has to be her that killed Gigi.
She found the knife. Sliced
Oh yeah,
through
because she
flesh,
she killed
butter.
Gigi because she had at that time she had been dead and she had disappeared from the meat locker. So she spent the morning with Gigi, killed Gigi, brought the head back, put it in the oven, probably went to Chad's house.
Yeah.
And expected them to find it, maybe.
Or she
Maybe
brought
she
the
did
head
and came
when
back.
she arrived back into the house.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
kept on checking it, remember, and it was still frozen or something like that. Yeah. So, okay, so she's basically saying that the reason she killed P is because he's a killer, and so it's justice. But she's like, no, that's for the court to decide, and this, that, and the other. Don't you have a conscience? You know, what you did was wrong, and you need to be brought to justice. So I'm gonna turn you in, Hester. And that's when Hester flips the script, and she's like, well, I'm gonna turn you in because you covered up the murder of my mother, and you killed your ex-husband. So, or we could say, that we're good, we move on. You have, we both have happy lives. You have a successful, best-selling life, and you have all this love and this, that, or the other, and they do an epic stare down, and then the dean is all happy. She's like, okay, take care. You too.
Okay.
See ya.
Yo, that was hilarious.
Love ya.
He was like,
Smooches.
That was perfect.
Yeah, that was epic.
A woman of her own heart.
Ain't that the truth? Very true. So we see that Grace, being the genius that she is, she set up in Chanel Oberlin's closet a crisis center of sorts so that no more girls will be giving birth in bathtubs, because I guess that's a thing and happens very often. And of course they haven't received any calls yet. But, I guess the effort had good intentions, although it maybe not be practical of sorts in a sense. But Wes basically says, I'm proud of you. The dean and I are going away. She likes for me to call her the dean in bed, and they have this weird awkward talk about his sex life. But basically he's like, you know what,
Again.
I trust you, and you're going to be fine, and I'm going to be going away. And I think
Maybe
it
that whole
alludes.
thing that you said about like 4 people surviving, that's how they write them off.
Yeah, and I think there's at least he alludes sort of that he might not be working at the campus again. So we flash to the courthouse. They're about to read the verdict. The jury has found the girls not guilty per their paper, but Chanel objects. And she's like, I want a jury of my peers, and these people are slobs. They're not hot, skinny bitches like me and my girls, so we need a jury of our peers, and blah, blah, blah. And then that's when the juror interjects. She's like, we find them guilty of all charges. And so the judge says that they're not going to jail. They're going to spend the rest of their time in the asylum. My favorite is that Chanel keeps on calling him either Judge Joe Brown or Judge Mathis.
Yeah.
I was waiting for her to say Judge Maybelline at one point.
That whole like the juror just kind of like Xing her out and putting like guilty on both of them. I'm like, you go, you do
Yes,
that.
that was epic.
Like, she is so racist.
Yeah. So they're sent to the asylum, and at the beginning they're like, this is going to suck, but then they soon realize that life is pretty good in the asylum. We have Chanel number 3 exploring her lesbianism and making out with a lesbian guard. We have Chanel number 5 being pumped up with all these different pills. Her personality changed, and Chanel loves her so much that she's sharing her deepest, darkest secrets, and her deepest, darkest secret is that she loves it there and that she never wants to leave. And they hug and everything, and finally, they can be in an area where no one can judge them, so they don't have anyone to impress, so they can actually eat real, solid, real food. And after a vote, Chanel Oberlin has been voted president of the asylum, I guess. And so they drink prune wine that was created in Chanel number 5's toilet. So later on, one night, we see Chanel happy. We see Chanel number 3 in bed with her guard girlfriend. We have Chanel laying in her bed, which is at the head of the ward or something like that. She even has a pink lamp and everything. Then we hear a squeak and the ching of metal or something like that. Chanel wakes up. She's like, oh, it's nothing. And then over her head, we see the Red Devil with a knife, and Chanel screams, and we fade to black. So let's get everyone's final take on the episode, as well as where all of our characters ended up, And that final scene with the Red Devil and Chanel, was that real? Was it a dream? Opinions,
Oh
opinions.
no, I think it's real because
Oh,
you
it's
remember how
definitely
like
real.
the episode, the whole series started with Chanel like taking off her eye mask and being like, "Good morning, sluts." The whole thing ending with her taking off the eye mask and the killer coming out, like just it's perfect. It's the perfect ending.
Yeah, it's definitely real.
I liked how open-ended it was. I also
Mm.
liked that they got to eat finally. Except Chanel does that really weird shit where she puts like her chicken nugget in the chocolate pudding, and I was like, "Oh, that's
Oh, I was hoping
gross."
that was barbecue sauce.
No, that was chocolate pudding. And I was just kind of like, I know that you're new to this eating thing, but we don't do that. The whole like how each Chanel ends up happy in the insane asylum was like done right. With Chanel, like which one? With Sadie,
Oh yeah,
like
Sadie
getting like
Swenson.
yeah, Sadie Swenson getting her like her relationship and like Libby finally like getting medicated and stopping from being like really annoying, and Chanel like finally getting to eat, I guess, being able to spill her secrets. It was a happy ending for them. I
Right.
didn't expect that. I expected
And
a
that's the part I
disappointment.
thought was weird. Like, how do you have a happy ending at the end of it? All right, I guess I'll take it. It just kind of didn't really add up. Like, it finished off like, yeah, I guess you can say the series is completed, but it kind of just finished off in a weird way. Like, you could have gone other directions if you had just continued on with some of the storylines that you started with. Like, started with storylines and didn't finish them. So I guess it finished up nice and tidy, but yeah, I
If
don't know.
if that's the right ending, then maybe she's gonna pull like a Mandy and we dodge and weave out of being stabbed, and maybe that would be why the Chanels get to go back into the real world because the Red Devil killer has like struck again.
Yeah, that'd
But
be
if the series
incredible.
got canceled, that's just like the perfect way to end it with everything open ended with you wondering what if. So both ways, I find fun. I'm hoping that there's more to the season, like that they make a season two. But if not, like I'm satisfied with how it ended.
Yeah, I am as well. I thought the series as a whole was fantastic. Like, I could see myself viewing this series again and again. And there aren't that many TV shows that I will sit through the entire season again and again to watch. Like, multiple viewings, not just like maybe once or twice again. I could see myself like watching this again and again throughout the years because it's entertaining. There were a lot of great twists. I mean, just some of the commentary and just the one-liners and the characters were just so over the top that it was hilarious to watch. So,
Yeah, I watch the Mean Girls and Heathers all the time, and this is almost exactly in that vein, except with like scary movie crap, and it's a really good show.
yeah, it really is. As far as the ending for me, I liked that some of the characters had happy endings, and even that the Chanels had happy endings because they're not the killers. So it would have sucked if they were paying the price, like the ultimate price, for something that they didn't do, even though they were kind of horrible people throughout the series.
Wilson's like they should have, just so we could see more killing.
Yes, but I was happy with it. The ending was left very vague to me, and I have quotes and stuff for the spoiler section, but I could see it being interpreted as two ways. Like it could have actually have happened, or it could have been a dream. Like I just think it is a weird way to end it because if there isn't a season two, then we're kind of left like, huh? And if there is a season two and they do a complete 180 and change everything, and it's not a continuation at all with anything Red Devil ish, then it still kind of is like, huh? But as a ending to a series, like let's say there isn't anything else, then I think it's perfect. I don't mind open ended endings. It's just if they're trying to continue it, it's kind of interesting to end it in that way, I guess.
Maybe another hat nod to other more horror movies. They always like to be continued, pretty much. Like is it over? Is the maybe I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to. It was his last little thing, the last little salute to the horror genre. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So let me go over our thoughts of who's going to survive until the finale. So a lot of us got a lot of things right. So all of mine were right. I said Grace, Zayday, Chanel, Hester, and Denise Hemphill. Wilson got all of his right. Denise, the Dean, Zayday, Grace, and Chad. Priscilla, you had all of yours right. Grace, Zayday, Chad, Chanel, and Denise. And Prince had one wrong because he did say Pete because he felt like the love was going to stay alive, our little love duo. But so Pete was wrong, but you got the rest right. Chanel, number 3, Grace, Zayday, and Denise.
Well, it was hard to get any ticks off because nobody really died from the main characters. You really could have said all of them.
Pete died.
I got one wrong. I got Pete.
Yeah, Pete was the main character that died.
But we were all hoping that we were going to get shit wrong and that Pete and Grace would have died.
Yeah, that is true. And I'm glad to say Pete died. Thank God.
Yeah. Oh, Pete. So, any final thoughts before we get into the spoiler section? Any final thoughts on the series as a whole?
I forgot to mention this, but apparently Scream Queens had a design contest before the stuff started, and the design winner came out in this last episode as something that Chanel number 5 wears.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe it was the outfit from the missive when she's walking in the crowd.
It's a t-shirt of like lips with blood coming out there.
Well,
it's
then maybe
really
not.
It's when she's all weird inside of the bathroom saying no, someone's upstairs, and when she explains the whole Nickelback thing, she's wearing it. And I thought that was really cute. I didn't know that was a contest.
Oh, okay. Interesting. We'll all enter it next season.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not.
I'll win.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive into some spoilers for hopefully upcoming episodes of Scream Queens. We certainly have some interesting information on a potential season 2, as well as some postmortems with the cast. So this is an official spoiler alert. Check out our official Facebook like page by visiting facebook.com/PCR Are You Afraid. Let's start off with ratings information. Scream Queens' double episode finale averaged 2.5 million total viewers with a 0.9 in the demo, 18 to 49 demo, versus the previous week. The previous week had 2.4 million total viewers and a 0.9 in the demo, so it was flat with the demo, or steady, and it ticked up 0.1 in the millions. Now,
well, that's because everything had season finales this time. Shield,
that's
Flash. True. It was going to be really hard to compete with it, so I'm kind of glad it got a 0.9.
I am as well. Yeah, that it stayed the same. Entertainment Weekly has this really great article about the ratings and how that could affect or not affect season 2. So here's a little bit of information from the article. Scream Queens wrapped its season pretty much flat in the overnight ratings. Tuesday night's 2-hour closer had, they're counting 2.6 million viewers and a 0.9 in the demo. I don't know if that's final numbers, but they're also saying that it was a high-profile show going into the fall, but insiders were shocked by delivering modest numbers. Fox has not yet renewed Scream Queens for second season, and ordinarily those overnights for the finale would doom the show, yet Scream Queens Season 2 prospects are promising. When including DVR playback, the campy horror drama's total viewers hit 5.1 million, and its demo ratings jumps to 2.2, plus the show gains an additional audience of 2.1 million outside the Nielsen measured 7-day window, which means that including Hulu and Fox Now app. Other considerations for Scream Queens renewal are that Fox and Murphy, who does American Horror Story on Fox's sister network FX, have a strong relationship, plus the plan is to creatively reboot Season 2, which would give the drama a second chance to launch with the new story and cast. There have been rumors of a summer camp, they say. It was pitched early on, but at least Entertainment Weekly is hearing that concept might shift into something different. And of course, Fox's freshman lineup, the rest of it isn't doing so hot either. So that helps Scream Queens as well. So we might not have seen the last of Scream Queens, but officially the series has not been renewed.
I'm scared. I want it to be renewed.
Fingers crossed. I'm hoping it is.
Yeah, I hope so as well. For those that don't know, there were multiple finales filmed. More than one ending was filmed. So it'll be interesting to see if and when the series arrives on DVD and Blu-ray, if they will release the other endings, a la Clue or something.
Hmm. That would be a nice like DVD option. Like Hester is the killer, Grace is the killer, option number 5 is the killer. Like having those options. I'd buy the DVD just for that.
Yeah, because they'd
Well,
have to do a lot of editing, especially for the final episode, because that's when Hester has her monologue. So I wonder if they change the person that has monologues and that kind of thing.
Or
Mhm.
maybe it's more people die,
That
More
would be
people die
interesting
would
as
be
well.
epic.
like a murder ending.
Like a Freak Show.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like a mass murder.
That would be interesting as well.
I don't like when do shows like usually say like renewal is going to happen like right afterwards or in the middle? Like has there ever been a precedent for the show finishing and not being told whether it's going to be renewed or not?
Yes,
Only
it
thing I
happens
can
all the
think of-
time.
the only thing I can think of recently is Wayward Pines, which if that like crappy show got renewed, like come on, Scream Queens is awesome. Please renew it.
I know, and it did.
I liked
was like,
Wayward
wow.
Pines, but I guess I'm in the minority on this show. But yeah, they typically don't announce renewals, especially if it's a series that's airing in the typical time frame, which is shows premiering in September, October, and seasons for at least shows that have 20 plus episodes, usually ending in May. They don't announce that until upfronts, which happens in May for the most part. That's when shows are officially picked up. There are shows that get early renewals, like I can quote Blind Spot over on NBC. That show got a full season pick up very early on, after I think maybe 4 episodes, and then about a month later it got an additional season pick up. So there are shows that do get early renewals. I don't remember when Empire was renewed for a second season, but that came early as well.
It was like after the first episode, I think, like immediately, like after like the 9 point something million, they were like, yeah, renewal.
Yeah, it might have been like maybe like the second or third episode, but it was very early on as well. But Empire is a mid-season show anyway, so they kind of have to announce that soon anyway. Usually for shows that air like in the summer or that have very short seasons, they have to announce things before cast contracts expire, because there's a certain time window when they still have the cast, and if they don't get renewed and the casting contracts expire, they're going to have to do new contracts. And that becomes a pain in the ass, because people could ask for more money and availability, and the cast ends up signing up other places. So a lot of times for some shows that have smaller season lengths or might air in the summer, they have to announce things by a certain time. So I don't know where that stands with Scream Queens, but I'm going to assume that they're going to have to announce soon.
Well, Billie Lourd was already told that we already know she's coming out in the Star Wars series, so she may or may not have time.
Well, she filmed the Star Wars before Scream Queens. Star Wars was her first acting gig.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Kind of helps to be the daughter of Princess Leia.
Yeah. And they made the buns reference again.
They did, which was fantastic.
Buns reference. So I don't know, but I know for sure that Ryan Murphy recycles people all the time to use in his other shows. I really hope he recycles the guy who played Chad Radwell, Glenn Powell. That guy deserves to be on so much shit. He's a great actor.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Him and Billie Lourd, I'd like to see in maybe possibly American Horror Story.
Yeah, playing radically different characters would be a lot of fun. Yeah,
that'd be incredible.
Going into a little bit more on Scream Queen's chances for renewal, Entertainment Weekly has an article called Death Watch, where they're going over the survival odds of new series, and this is what they had to say about Scream Queens. The most stunning disappointment of the fall, 2.1 average, given the show's high-profile cast, producers, and pre-premiere polling data. Still, the scuttlebutt around the network is Fox will keep Ryan Murphy's campy horror comedy for a relaunch next season, with a new premise and a few surviving cast members. The rumor is it will become Scream Queens Summer Camp. Over on TVLine.com, TVLine actually upgraded its renewal odds. In the beginning, they had too early to tell, and now they're saying that it's a safe bet. So they're saying that it will more than likely be renewed as well. Let's get into some post-mortem interviews with Leah Michelle. A bunch of major websites interviewed her, and I have some interesting tidbits from the interview. We're going to start off on TVLine.com. They ask Leah Michelle, when did you find out you were the killer? She says, I found out when I got the final script. I had no idea leading up to it. I just read the final script, and when she says it was me all along, I just went, oh my god. I was really excited and more so happy to know that she got away with it.
Did you see her tweet, like, right after the episode?
No, what to say?
Seconds afterwards, she's like, yes, I can finally say it. I am the Red Devil Killer. And she put, like, little emojis for, like, a lipstick kiss and a knife.
Oh, that's
I was
too
like,
funny.
that's super cute. The actors' social media are always like really amazing. If anyone ever gets the chance, like look up their like Instagram and tweets, like they're funny.
They also ask her, how often did you play Hester as though she was the killer, even though you couldn't know for sure? She answered with, more so not, we always just play it straight. And then occasionally they would say, okay, now say that line like you're the killer, or do the scene a little bit more evil. They really only told me to do that twice. I really just played it more like I was obsessed with Chanel, I was obsessed with Kappa, and just happy to be there. So they also asked, about the finale scene where she has all that dialogue. They asked, how long did that particular scene take to film? So she says, that was hard, that scene was so big, we had to take 2 days to shoot it. I had a fever of 102. I was so sick and it was so late at night. I was just like, everybody bear with me, and I really pride myself on being good with my lines, but this was a lot because it was all facts. You can't really ad-lib or go outside the box at all, but I think I did a pretty good job. And Brad said, just pretend you're a lawyer stating your case. It took a while to memorize everything, and it was certainly not the easiest day of filming, but I was so happy when that was done. That wasn't the last day of filming, but that felt like the last day of filming. I went home and drank half a bottle of wine with my mother. I was so happy. They also discuss that big scene with Jamie Lee Curtis. They asked, did you guys rehearse that before filming? She says no, and that was another tough one because we were literally at the center of Tulane University campus. We had probably 100 kids surrounding us while we were filming this very important scene, and I was just like, I don't want them to hear what I'm saying. What if they hear me say that I'm the killer? And then on top of that, it's Jamie fucking Lee Curtis. That was one of those moments in life where I tried to take a mental picture and remember it forever because it was such an incredible honor, and it really was such a smart scene in that it's nose to nose, super intense, and then out of nowhere, okay, see ya, bye.
I love how she's like, I hope people don't hear me, but there's a giant monument that lists all the people that died.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know. Maybe that was like CGI'd or something, but like
maybe they added in the stuff afterwards. I don't know. Yeah.
Just like, what? Okay.
Yeah. So they also asked, when you first signed on to Scream Queens, you were all about making a departure from Glee's Rachel Berry. Did you get that? Did you get from this experience what you wanted to? She says, I think so. Once you tell someone to attack your crack, William McKinley High kind of went that way, and she gestures out the window. And they ask, and yet there are some similarities between Rachel and Hester in that they're so driven toward their goals, even if one of their goals is killing people. She goes on to say, I tried very hard with everything from the way I did my hair and my makeup and what I wore. Literally, if it was a pair of shoes that were similar to something Rachel wore, I would not wear them. I worked with the same wardrobe and same hair and makeup people as Glee. So we were able to really make sure that it was very, very different. There is that sense of determination, but at the end of the day, Hester is literally on another planet. And I'll give them props on that. I don't think I saw Rachel at all when I saw Hester. Now, over on entertainmentweekly.com, they ask her a couple different questions that I want to bring up. So they talk about the end in particular. The episode ends with a shocker, with someone in the Red Devil costume standing over Chanel, who had been sent to an asylum along with Chanel number 3 and Chanel number 5 following the trio's arrest and trial with a knife. Do you think that was Hester? She goes on to say, I think it could have been, but it also could have been a dream. So their follow-up is, that's interesting. My first thought was that Hester found her peace and got her revenge. She goes on to say, I agree. And so they then follow that up with, so I wondered if maybe someone else was continuing on as the Red Devil. And her answer is, I know that next year Ryan wants to have a completely different killer, so I think that might have been a dream. Maybe it's Hester letting them out of the institution. Who knows? I don't know. But I wouldn't put anything past Ryan Murphy.
I hope that means that she gets killed off. I don't know. I don't like Leah Michelle's character. Like, maybe it's because, like, I still see her as her Glee character, and I hated her Glee character. So if she dies and there's another killer next season, I would not mind in the slightest.
Well, there
so
you
long
go.
as I get my Chanel back, because I fucking loved Emma. Like, she killed it.
Over on the HollywoodReporter.com, they ask her some interesting questions as well. So they ask, so you were genuinely surprised by the reveal? She goes on to say, yes, I had a feeling that I was in some way involved, but not that it was all me. I really thought it was Oliver, aka the actor that plays Wes. And so they asked, was that your theory the whole time? She was like, either him or Skylar. Skylar Samuels plays Grace. They also ask about the future as well. What else do you think the future holds for Hester in a potential second season? She goes on to say, it will be interesting because I know that Ryan has mentioned that there will be a new killer next year, and it'll be really funny if everyone thinks it's Hester. And she's like, no, actually, it's not me this time. And then I think she could be in a position of someone coming after her, which would be really fun to play. This year it was interesting to have to always play things with it being in the back of your mind that you may be the killer, but to go into another season and potentially be a victim could be fun. So she's excited by that prospect, much like you are, Priscilla. And then the final interview over on IGN.com, they ask her, do you think that's something that will roll over if there is a season 2, or do you think it'll be fresh? They're referring to the Red Devil and the final scene. Leah Michelle says, I know that there's going to be a new killer, but something has to start happening to get them to move to a new location, which I hear we're going to. So I don't think we're going to see the Red Devil anymore. So they ask, but same characters? She says, same characters, I think so, but you never know with Ryan. But we did a fan event with Ryan a couple weeks ago in New York, and he mentioned that it would be a new location, but I think same characters. And then they add this question, which maybe Priscilla asked, or at least a statement that maybe Priscilla would make as well. IGN says, cool, I just need more Chad Radwell. And Leah Michelle says, we all need more Chad Radwell.
Yay! Perfect. That's a good way to end it. That means that he might make it. If the show makes it, he might make it.
Speaking of tweets, Oliver Hudson posted this tweet after the episode aired, and they wrote about this on Variety.com. I don't apologize for my gross body. It was a rough summer in NOLA as I ate and drank my face off. So you are seeing shameless body art.
I totally didn't know he was Goldie Hawn's son until, like, I heard, like, his last name was, like, Oliver Hudson, and I looked it up. I was like, who is this guy? I finally looked him up, like, the last episode. He totally doesn't look like his sister, Kate Hudson.
Right.
Kate is the spitting image of Goldie. Like, when I see Kate, I see Goldie Hawn.
Whereas Oliver Hudson,
No, and he definitely needed to apologize for that body. Cut the shit.
He's also quoted as saying, I love making a fool of myself. I love physical comedy. At the end of the day, Jamie said it actually works that you're sort of soft and you've got that dad bod going on. She's not wrong. It adds to the humor that I'm out of shape and frumpy.
But Jamie Lee Curtis didn't undress at all, like, ever.
She wore that little bathing suit when she got frozen.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe she's over it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's kind of like been there, done that.
Have some Activia.
Do 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 do.
She's like, been there, done that. Got some grown ass kids to prove it.
Exactly. So, but that scene, I think the whole character of Wes would have been very different with Joe Manganiello, like being Wes. That would have been interesting, like to see him pursuing the dean and then like she's shutting him down. I mean, that would have been funny.
I think
that would have explained why both of the women like were after him. Like he was the last cookie on the plate. Like I don't know, he would have been a completely different character.
He would have.
And I would have like had my eyes glazed the entire time.
I would be able to believe that Leah Michelle, Nick Jonas, and Skylar Samuels were his kids. More so than
you would.
I would. More so than I believe this dude.
Yeah, but the mothers were really pretty, so sometimes you can have a really ugly like one half.
Oh, true, but I kind of feel like smart wise, like IQ wise.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't have made him as corny.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So now it's time to grade the season. We do this at the end of every season of a show that we cover. So you're going to grade the season. You're going to give the season either an A, B, C, D, F. And pluses and minuses are allowed. So you can give a B plus or an A minus, whatever tickles your fancy. And I want you to explain the grade that you gave the season. So I've been picking on Priscilla first throughout the entire episode. So I'll do it backwards. Wilson, what's your grade for the season and why?
I'm going to say I'm going to give it an A minus. It was written well. It was stylized very well. I think it would have been maybe had a little bit more pop and a little bit more. The reveal would have been a little bit more of a big deal if it had been maybe 2 or 3 episodes shorter in length. And I think the A minus is also due to the lack of notable character deaths. So if I had a little bit more main character deaths, then it probably would have been a solid A. But because of that, I have to leave it with an A minus. But I started off wavering, but it kind of grew on me as the season went on.
All right now, so an A minus from Wilson here. Prince Rico Suave. What's your grade and why?
I was gonna say A minus, but I'm kind of like on the fence. I'm still kind of like a B plus maybe. I liked it a lot, but I felt like it had potential to be so much more as well. But it was a good show all around. I would watch another season. I'd like to see, what they have in store. But I hope they up the antics next time around. I just need a little more.
So what's your final grade? B plus?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have an A minus and a B plus. Priscilla, what's your grade and why?
It's killing me because I would want one like right in the middle of the B plus, of the B plus and the A minus.
A minus, yes, same here.
You want like a B plus plus?
Yes, because I'm gonna say that I loved how the show was stylized. I loved all the references that they gave. And I loved how they portrayed like the deaths that were there, like Coney and Chanel Number 2 and Candle Girl. Like the deaths were funny and made sense. I just wish, like Wilson said, that there were more like main character deaths. And oh my God, Grace and Pete were killing me this season. That's why like it's a whole letter grade down. Normally, I really like things that are dark comedy and like pop culture, like Eve and those two killed it. So yeah, that's why I give it the grade that I gave it.
So what's your final grade? A B plus?
I can't have it in the middle. A B plus.
Okay, I'm gonna give it an A minus as well. I was actually gonna give it a solid A, but there were a couple little faults to the series. I mean, it's the first season, so hopefully they learn some of the mistakes when they do a second season. But I think it was a very strong first season. It was hilarious. I think the deaths that they did show were very good and hella entertaining. I thought all of the characters really were phenomenally done. each one had their quirks, and like we always say, I mean, there's always stuff going on in the backgrounds. Like, you can't miss the background stuff because they're reaction shots, and it's just a visual feast for the eyes, not just with the outfits and the locations and all that kind of stuff. I mean, just what the characters are doing was just phenomenal to look at because something's going on filling up the screen. As far as like the ending, I don't mind that there weren't a billion deaths at the end. Realistically speaking, like, could some of the other characters have died? Sure. But, I don't know. I think the characters that did die, at least somehow, like, there was a reasoning why they died. So I'm fine with the characters that didn't die, not dying. And I like that the killer got away with it. So that a lot of the other killers in the team died, but then there was, like, the final girl killer. She was the final girl of the killers. I like that someone sort of survived and isn't like paying for the crime, because there's always hope for a second season, and maybe she'll die in the second season because there will be a new killer seeking revenge for something. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe they're just going to be batshit crazy. I love that our homegirl Denise Hemphill is still alive. And I love that scene with Chad and Denise. It was everything that I could have ever dreamed up in my head. So for all those reasons, I give it an A-. I mean, there were little things that I could complain about, but I think all of you sort of said it already, so I don't really have anything negative to add as to why I didn't give it like an A+ or an A. Overall, I thought it was a solid first outing, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again, hopefully. So let's briefly talk about the future. I know that there's been this rumor of summer camp, but then all of a sudden, not Leah Michelle, I think it was Entertainment Weekly, when I was talking about ratings, said that maybe it might not be that. Of course, that could just be buzz, so that people get off the scent of summer camp. But if there is a second season, and let's pretend it's not at summer camp, where would you guys like for the series to be set?
I think they talked a lot about how every single one of them wanted to be like a news anchor, and how Zayde wanted to be like president and stuff. So like seeing them like on like American, like internship wise, like at Washington DC or something, like that'd be fun to do. If they can't do something like super kitschy like summer camp, at least tie in like their backgrounds together to have the Chanels doing something.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking maybe working at a carnival or something, like Six Flags type thing, amusement park.
I like that. Yeah, I could see that.
4.
Yeah, like a summer job, but like now the killer's trying to kill him around the amusement park.
Yeah, I was kind of sticking to the summer thing for some reason. And it's like maybe they'd gone on vacation and bumped into one another, and like somehow Denise Hemphill was there, and they were all on vacation, and then a killer struck, and they.
Oh my gosh.
At Sandals would be perfect. And that's how they bump into Denise Hemphill.
After Quantico, I bought sandals.
Or they do. Nah, they wouldn't do Quantico.
No. But Denise does deserve her own spin-off. That would be fantastic.
I'm so glad. She deserves a spin-off with her and Chad Radwell.
Oh, that would be epic. Yeah. Where do I think they would go? Well, obviously they're in May. So if they continue on with the timeline, if they don't do like a major time shift or time jump, then it would be summer. So the next logical thing would be summer camp, like everyone has been predicting or talking about, or the rumor and whatnot. I would love to see summer camp. I've predicted this for American Horror Story forever, wanting a summer camp and thinking they should do a summer camp. Them taking that concept and turning it into a comedy might be pretty damn good. So I'm hopeful that they do summer camp. But if they don't, them working at like a Six Flags, like a theme park, that would be entertaining.
Maybe like a prequel, kind of like a Pretty Little Liars thing, where they're like all in high school. I mean, if they did it with Sex and the City with the Carrie Diaries, they can do it with Scream Queens.
But how they wouldn't have known Denise.
She can come out like somehow, like
they'll make her young.
Yes. No, remember
she plays herself when she's young.
so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Right, that works out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know what else besides a summer camp. I think because we've kept on talking about summer camp, I can't really think of another concept that would work. Ooh, maybe like Scream Queens summer cruise or something, and they're on like a cruise ship,
Oh, on the boat, yeah.
and they all run into each other on the cruise ship. They all got invites to the cruise, all paid for, and no one was suspicious until they all found each other on the cruise ship together.
And it'd be a murder mystery sort of thing like Clue because they're all stuck in one location.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all a whodunit within a specific locale as opposed to like the whole campus. That'd be fun.
Plus, the new added characters that are interested.
Exactly. Yeah, that might be interesting.
I want to flash forward where Zadie's president.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic. So on that note, we want to thank everyone for tuning into Are You Afraid, Scream Queens. Thank you so much for joining us these past 11 episodes. We will have new episodes of Are You Afraid, Scream Queens in the future if Scream Queens has been greenlit for a second season. You can tune into our sister show, Are You Afraid Hotel, for everything American Horror Story Hotel. We also have previous seasons based on Coven and Freak Show as well. Please like us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/PCR Are You Afraid. You can also like Papi Chulo Radio on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Papi Chulo Radio. Visit papichuloradio.com/archives to download this episode and many more. Registered users will gain access to our archives of previously aired broadcasts. You can email us with any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns at contact@papichuloradio.com. Co-hosts, can you please wish the listeners a good night?
Night, everybody. Hopefully, see y'all
Good night,
soon.
everybody. Look for my spinoff.
Keep each other in #cahoots.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in,
Keep us on
everyone.
American Horror Story.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. See you hopefully sometime, possibly in fall 2016. Good night, everyone.